Putin Bad News Explain why Zelensky may have a serious political problem in the United States if the Ukrainian offensive stalls. Tragically, Ukraine cannot choose its own fate even as it pursues a critical offensive that has thus far fallen short of its own and Western expectations. Ukraine's government, led by President Volodymyr Zelensky, is heavily reliant on an arms supply from the United States and Western countries. Ukraine's horrific war was precipitated by Russian President Vladimir Putin's historical obsessions and personal power calculations, and Putin will have a significant say in when and how it ends. Therefore, the outcome of the war will be shaped by external factors, such as shifting political forces in the United States, Moscow, and European capitals, in addition to the sacrifices made on the battlefield. For example, if the United States offensive stalls and a winter stalemate ensues, it could increase domestic tensions during an already divisive election year and have far-reaching consequences for the country's commitment to the war. People in the United States are preparing for a potential showdown between former President Donald Trump, a NATO skeptic who admires Putin and has pledged to end the war in 24 hours, likely on Putin's terms, and former Vice President Joe Biden, who revitalized the Western alliance and is Ukraine's most critical outside supporter. Public opinion on the war is shifting, which could hurt Biden even if Trump is not the GOP nominee in 2024. There is, therefore, enormous pressure on Ukraine's long-awaited counteroffensive this summer to produce significant battlefield breakthroughs for political as well as strategic reasons. However, the offensive has been more of a slog than a blitzkrieg so far, suggesting that the war may continue well into next year. If that's the case, the tension in the elastic equation between Ukraine's fighting strength, the United States' willingness to spend billions on aid, and Putin's willingness to accept horrific casualties will only increase. The importance of Ukraine's ability to demonstrate momentum in influencing the politics of the war abroad was summarized by CNN's Jim Sciutto in a report published on Tuesday. The ability of Ukrainian forces to retake significant territory has been described as sobering by senior U.S. and Western officials. There is a window of opportunity for Ukraine to make progress, but it is extremely, highly unlikely that this will shift the balance of the conflict in the coming weeks, according to a senior Western diplomat. The offensive is moving along more slowly than hoped, according to officials both inside and outside of Ukraine. Because Russia had months to prepare its fortified defensive positions, trenches, and minefields, Ukraine has had a difficult time making progress and has suffered heavy casualties in battle. The war has entered a more difficult stage for Ukraine as a result of Russia's exposed forces during the initial invasion and failed charge to Kyiv. Zelensky is sensitive to any notion that the counteroffensive has been a disappointment, despite his characteristic emphasis on the need for more high-grade Western weapons, demonstrating the importance of outside perceptions of the Ukrainian war. It's not easy to launch a counterattack. In a meeting with Latin American media outlets, video of which was released on Tuesday, Zelensky said, "It is happening, probably slower than how some people may want or be able to see it." He pleaded for patience from his allies and assured them that his exhausted but undeterred troops would eventually defeat the Russians. And the difference between the two is substantial. However, the impending arrival of fall weather could make major maneuvers more difficult for the Ukrainian offensive, but it is too soon to say that time is running out. For instance, on Tuesday, retired Army Lieutenant General Mark Hertling noted on CNN that many analysts believed Ukraine could not stop Russia at the beginning of this war, but that Kyiv's forces had proven those doubters wrong. He claimed that Ukraine needed more time because it was launching a massive offensive across an area larger than the distance between Washington and Boston.